what are the metrics of sales success? Sales success metrics are factual items that you can look at on paper or see and feel for yourself that shows that you are heading on the right track. You have what are the metrics of success and how can we see those, as well as the second part to that is how can we drive our business to get to those metrics that we would like to see. So this is two parts. The first one is what are those metrics? Second is how do we drive to meet those metrics? To be successful in sales, you need to know where do you want to go and what metrics can prove our success. One of those metrics that can prove success, if you're growing a volume of business. Basically, if you're getting more clients every month, if you're doing more appointments, you're doing more orders every month, if you're generating more avenues of revenue for your company, if you're getting money from here, there, over here. So you can just look at the end of the month, middle of the month, beginning of the month, look at that, look at previous years, or look at the months before and see if your business has been either going on a slope up or has it been going on a slope down, or is it kind of up and down like that? So it's really good to keep an eye on those metrics because it really tells you well, what are we doing right now? What are our actions today? And how does that translate into how the business is doing? You can look at that and you can just see the trend. The second piece is the job changes. Not necessarily getting fired. That's something pretty bad. So if you get a promotion, that's a pretty good job change. If higher management starts to speak to you or starts to call you out and stuff, not for bad things, not for being late, but if they call you out for doing the right things, oh, Brian did this on this day, or this is how John did it on this day, this is how Keenan did it over here. And if they're using you as an example, that's a pretty good indication that you're doing something right. Another thing that isn't looked at too closely, but you should also recognize, is that if management starts delegating higher management tasks to you and you haven't filled the position yet, well, then that means that they're getting ready to put you in that position and they just want to test you. You're growing your personal brand a lot more. But anyway, the third piece to that is how you can know that you're driven to success is a salary increase. Promotion, raises like we already talked about, more commission on your monthly check. That is a pretty good indicator. Even if it's going like this, up and down, if it's pretty minimal between those ups and downs and still on a slope of positive overall, then you're doing pretty good. There's going to be good months, there's going to be a little bit slower months, but that shouldn't mean that you tank your commission like 100%. It should go down very minimally. The second piece of this, before we wrap it up, is part two. How can we drive our business so that these metrics can happen? How can we drive our business? How can we influence our business with our actions so that these metrics that we just talked about actually happen for us? So there's three pieces to this too. One of those things is we need to train our sales reps to be driven, and we need to set the expectation of success from day one. And how I do it is I sit down with my rep and I say, hey, this job is not very easy, all right? You're expected to have some success here, not just some, but a lot, all right? And to get that success, it takes a lot of training. It takes a lot of dedication. It takes a lot of coaching, okay? And you need to be okay with that, because if you're successful, I'm successful. So even though there's going to be days that are hard, there's going to be days where we hate each other, that's okay, because what we're trying to do is we're trying to be successful together. And so when you're successful, I'm successful. And so I care about your success, and let's just do this together. So basically, if you can get their buy-in before they even start, then when they come in, they're rocking and rolling and 300% with the company and with you. At that point, the coaching can begin and they'll soak you up like a sponge. That's what we want. We want them to be trained to success. You don't want someone who's not bringing profit to the business. You don't want dead weight. That could be the worst thing in your life, for your rep's life, for the company. You're wasting money at that point and your time. Number 2 is we need to focus on capitalizing more in each transaction. That means that even though I built a quote for customer A, even though I built that quote for them, now what I need to do is, even though they accepted, now I need to position more, because that is how you double upsells. That's how you triple upsells. That's how you quadruple upsells. And if you're doing this consistently over the month period, by the end of the month, you're going to be having about double to maybe even, at least what I've seen, triple and quadruple the times of sales than if you never pushed to begin with. So push more, get more out of your sales, position more for the customer. Worst they can say is no. Best thing they can say is yes. And why didn't you tell me this sooner? So risk it. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of the customer. They're here for you to help them. So help them. Give them more access to things that they didn't have access to before. Make their life simpler. Make it easier. Make it more convenient. Make it funner. Whatever you can do to enhance their life, well, do that. Position it after you get the buy-in. Number 3, really quick, is train. When you're training your employee and you continually train them and you're continually bringing more knowledge to their attention to the table, or how did that interaction go, or how do you think that this went? How do you think that you said this, and by saying it this way, how do you think that influenced the customer, or how do you think that would make them think? And whether the sell was a success or failure, well, then we can look at, well, what did we do in the sale that made it that way? What do we think? And then we need to ask the rep, what do you think made it that way? And when they come up and they say, I think I could have told him that even though it's this price today, it's gonna go down later. This is just the initial. I think if I would have told him that, he probably would have bought into it. But because I didn't tell him that, he didn't take it. He didn't bite. Or on the other end of that is, well, he said no at first, but then I told him that it's gonna go down later, or to come back and see me later and it'll go down. Well, now that's what made him buy in. So now we have a sell and we're successful. And that's what we want. We want to self-reflect on what we've done in the past, not too much to where you're getting hurt about it or where it's personal, but enough to the point to where you can kind of make a map and say, hey, this is what I've been doing consistently, and this is how I've seen success, and this is what I've done inconsistently that may or may not work. It kind of hits or miss. But if we're not doing that and we're not continually to train, observe, and self-reflect with our reps or with our managers, then they're going to think that there's no other way around it, there's no way out, and that what they're doing is completely fine. Which, if you're pretty successful, it's completely fine. But we're not here because we're ultra successful. We're here because we want to grow. We want to make more money. We want to have better relationships with our team, with our clients. We want to make more out of our job, which is our goal. We want to have a better life. We want to make more money. We want to do more things. We want to be happy. And by doing these things that we've talked about in this session, implementing this into my life is what made me successful. So I think if you implement even one of these things into your weekly, monthly, daily things that you do, I think you'll really drive for success. Don't be afraid to reach out if you need some help. I'm always here to help you guys. The point of this group is so that we're all growing together. And I can't become better unless you ask for help. So if there's anything you need clarification on, but yeah, if you need help or anything, just let me know. And I'll always be there to help you guys. Thanks.